Hello, my name is Joshua Brown from the interview training company howtobecome.com, and in this presentation I'll share the hardest and perhaps weirdest project manager interview questions used by real employers worldwide. These interview questions are similar to ones actually asked by some of the biggest companies in the world, such as Google and Apple. So if you want to pass your interview and be prepared for the toughest project manager interview questions, then stay tuned. Let's take a look at project manager question number 1. Imagine you have a bouquet of several flowers. All but 2 of these flowers are daffodils, all but 2 are sunflowers, and finally, all but 2 are roses. How many flowers are in your bouquet altogether? This question tests your logical thinking and the ability to deduce information from seemingly complicated statements. It's a valuable skill for project managers, where problem solving and analytical thinking is required, as it demonstrates the ability to simplify and solve complex problems. In answering this question, it's important to approach it with logical reasoning and clarity, especially in a job interview setting where your thought process is as important as the final answer. Here's how you could structure your response to this tricky interview question. When faced with questions like these, I like to take a structured approach. First, it is important to clearly understand the information provided. From the information in the question, when considering each type of flower individually, it appears that we're always left with 2 flowers that aren't of that type, be it daffodils, sunflowers, or roses. In other words, removing any 2 flowers results in the rest being of a single type. For daffodils, removing 2 flowers means the rest are daffodils, implying the 2 removed are not daffodils, pointing us to a sunflower and a rose. This logic applies uniformly across all flower types mentioned. This essentially translates to a bouquet composition where we have 1 of each flower type. This realization comes from understanding that the all but 2 condition for each flower type indirectly references the other 2 flower types in the bouquet. Thus, we conclude the bouquet holds 3 flowers in totals: a daffodil, a sunflower, and a rose. Now, this response not only provides the solution, but also explains your thought process clearly, which is really important because it shows your analytical capabilities and how you approach problem solving, which are qualities valued in project manager roles. Let's take a look at tricky project manager interview question number 2. Suppose you start with an empty field and plant a single tree. If the quantity of trees doubles each day, and by the 30th day, the field is completely filled with trees, on which day was the field only half full? Now, in a job interview, answering this question effectively can showcase your ability to think logically and understand exponential growth. Here's how you might structure your answer. My first thought when hearing this question is how critical it is to recognize the nature of exponential growth described in the scenario. The question states that the field becomes completely full of trees on the 30th day, and the number of trees doubles every day. This means that the growth of the trees follows a pattern where each day the quantity of trees is twice the quantity of the previous day. Given this doubling pattern, if the field is full on the 30th day, it would have to have been half full on the day before, because on each day the number of trees doubles. Therefore, if we work backwards from the 30th day, when the field is full, we can deduce that the field was half full on the 29th day. I really like this question, as in a professional context, understanding and applying the concept of exponential growth can be critical for planning and forecasting, especially in fields like project management, finance, and technology development. That's a brilliant answer to this interview question, because not only does it provide the correct response, but it also provides the reasoning behind it, demonstrating your analytical thinking and problem-solving skills. It subtly reflects an understanding of key mathematical concepts applicable in real-world scenarios, which is a valuable trait in project manager job roles. Okay, project manager tricky interview question number 3. In a scenario where room A contains 3 light switches and room B contains 3 light bulbs, and you're permitted to enter room B only once, what strategy would you use to accurately determine which switch controls each light bulb? Wow, this is a really, really tricky problem, and it's a classic problem that's been used time and time again throughout job interviews and through critical thinking tests to assess people's ability to think creatively and solve problems with constraints. Now have a think, how would you answer this interview question? Well, if you want to know the answer right away, here is how you could structure your answer in a job interview to showcase your problem solving skills and your logical thinking. I think to answer this question, I will need to think quite creatively. My approach here isn't just to use the on and off positions of the light bulbs, but to also think a bit outside of the box, literally by considering how the light bulbs themselves react over time. First up, I'd turn on the first switch and leave it on for a little while. This is to get the bulb that it's connected to nice and warm. Then I'd switch it off, flip the second switch on and leave the third switch off. The idea is to create a situation where each bulb gives a different signal. So when I walk into room B, here's what I expect to find. One bulb shining bright, which clearly tells me it's connected to the second switch, since that's the one I left on. Now for the other two bulbs, which are off, I can still tell them apart by touch. The bulb that's warm but not lit, that's hooked up to the first switch. It had time to heat up before I turned it off. And the bulb that's cool to the touch has to be connected to the third switch, which I never turned on. It's a simple way to make sure each bulb tells its own story, ensuring I can match each one to its switch confidently after just one visit. Now this response not only outlines a clear and effective solution, but also demonstrates your ability to use logical reasoning and creative thinking to navigate constraints, a valuable skill in many professional scenarios. Let's take a look at another project manager interview question, and this one is really tricky. If a pen costs $20, a printer costs $40, and a piano costs $60, under the same conditions, how much does a radio cost? Now I love this question because it sounds very confusing, and it is confusing, but it's a great way to test someone's logical and creative thinking. And it's really important that you apply both of those things when answering this interview question. If you want to give this a go yourself, pause the video, take some time and have a go yourself, and just bear in mind that approaching this as a creative thinking question for a project manager position, the objective might be to assess your ability to find patterns, apply logic, and make reasoned assumptions based on limited information. So when you're ready, let's innovate a logical yet creative approach to determining the price of a radio under the given circumstances. Here's my sample answer for you. Thinking about this question, I feel this pattern could be interpreted in several ways, such as reflecting incremental value or perhaps size. However, after some thought, I feel I've spotted a creative and logical pattern. A pen has one vowel and costs $20. Which suggests that each vowel is worth $20. A printer has two vowels and costs $40, reinforcing the idea that each vowel corresponds to $20. Based on this logic, a piano, which has three vowels, costs $60, perfectly aligning with the pattern where each vowel adds $20 to the base price. Therefore, applying the same logic to a radio, it would also cost $60 as it has three vowels. Now, as a project manager, providing such a structured response demonstrates your ability to analyze data, recognize patterns, and make informed decisions. It also shows your capability to work with complete information and apply logical reasoning to come up with a plausible solution, a crucial skill in project management where not all variables are always known. And by the way, just let me know in the comment section below which companies have asked these interview questions. All of these questions are similar to real questions asked by companies worldwide in real project manager interviews. So let me know which companies you think they could be in the comment section below. And if you have any weird questions to share yourself, let me know below as well. Here is question number 5. How would you calculate how many sheep there are in Great Britain? So if you're asked in a job interview how you would calculate the number of sheep in Great Britain, or any place for that matter, here's how you could structure your answer to showcase your problem-solving skills and analytical thinking. To estimate the number of sheep in Great Britain, I'd use a method akin to solving a Fermi problem, focusing on making educated guesses with minimal information. First, I'd gauge the agricultural land available for sheep grazing, considering the diverse landscapes of England, Scotland and Wales. Assuming, for simplicity, an average of 2 sheep per acre can be supported, The next step involves adjusting for variables, such as non-grazing sheep in feedlots or smaller holdings, plus the natural fluctuations in sheep populations from breeding cycles and seasonal changes. If we start with an assumption of 10 million acres of suitable grazing land and an average of 2 sheep per acre, would arrive at an initial estimate of 20 million sheep. Adjusting for additional factors, like non-grazing sheep, could increase this estimate by about 10%. I feel this strategy showcases my ability to navigate complex issues through structured analysis and reasonable assumptions. While precise numbers would require official statistics, my approach provides a logical framework for an educated estimate and hopefully demonstrating my problem solving and analytical skills in the process. Great, now this response not only answers the question, but also demonstrates your critical thinking, problem solving skills, and ability to handle tasks that require both quantitative and qualitative analysis, all of which are valuable traits in a variety of professional settings. Now, if you want to watch my video right here on YouTube, where I go over the 50 most common project manager interview questions, then click that link in the top right hand corner of this video right now. Not only do I give you the 50 most common questions, but I'll also give you the quick, easy to remember responses to the questions. Alternatively, if you want to get the full list of 50 project manager interview questions right now, and if you want to accelerate your learning even further to pass your interview at the first attempt, then click that link in the top right hand corner of this video or in the pinned comment below for 2 reasons. The first reason is it will take you through to my website, howtobecome.com, where you can get all 50 brilliant quick responses to project manager interview questions in a PDF guide right now. And secondly, the next reason is I've given you plenty of project manager interview tips and advice on that page, and the top 3 questions you need to ask the interviewer at the end of your interview to be that memorable standout candidate. It's a brilliant resource guaranteed to help you prepare effectively for your interview and also, more importantly, put you ahead of the competition. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Please don't forget to subscribe, as I'm on a mission to help as many people as possible pass their job interviews, and I can only do that if you are subscribed. Please also hit that like button, as that encourages me to make more videos just like these. And if you have any questions regarding any specific job interview, do let me know in the comment section below, where I'll get back to you with even more interview tips and advice. And finally, don't forget to connect with me on LinkedIn. I've put my LinkedIn link in the description below. It's always great to connect with like-minded professionals such as yourself. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you all the best with your interview. Have a brilliant day.